After the call of an evil god was activated, Elisa was notified. She wondered if the people from the temple were coming to capture her. She was trying to find the path leading to the underground city, but hadn't been able to locate it yet. A voice echoed in her ears, asking her to make a sacrifice, promising that it would reveal the path to her. Meanwhile, Bjorn was hit by 120 revenants. Thanks to his dark resistance stats, the effects were reduced by 30s, but his maximum health temporarily decreased by 29. Bjorn, huffing and exhausted, was untying the ropes from a man. Misha asked Bjorn if he was all right. He replied that he was fine but almost died back there. Then he asked the others if they were okay too. Rottmiller said that thanks to Bjorn, they were. Unfortunately, the man in front of Bjorn had died. Bjorn was glad that he had sent the man ahead of them. Otherwise, things could have turned out badly for him. A reality Bjorn could easily imagine. Bjorn suggested they should keep moving, but the dwarf stopped him to search the man's belongings. He found the man's identity plaque, revealing that his name was Hans Marcone. Bjorn's destiny seemed tied to people named Hans. The dwarf was pleased and mentioned they could turn this into the administrative agency as proof. However, Bjorn had a bad feeling about the situation. They then reached Hans Marcone's hiding spot, despite the place being nicely decorated, suggesting he was a good homemaker contrary to his rough appearance. The person they were looking for wasn't there. As they began searching the area, Dwaki detected something unusual. He told the others that he sensed a faint trace of mana from a spot on the ground and suspected something was hidden below. Bjorn, saying "I see," began removing his armor. Dwaki asked what he was doing, and Bjorn replied that he was going to destroy the ground. Dwaki doubted that it would work against magic, but Bjorn disagreed. Using his gigantification skill, Bjorn insisted that if brute force wasn't enough, it meant he wasn't using enough force. He proceeded to destroy the ground, shocking everyone. Soon, stairs became visible beneath the rubble. Misha commented that it actually worked. The dwarf asked Dwaki if he hadn't just said it wouldn't work, to which Dwaki replied that he wasn't so sure anymore. Rottmiller then told Bjorn that he could smell that woman's scent and nothing else, so he thought it should be safe to check it out, relieved that Rottmiller's sixth sense hadn't detected any danger. Bjorn decided to proceed. Deep underground, there was a city called Newark. Initially, I thought it would be just an area where escaped criminals lived. But this city looked like a real one, complete with artificial lights. In it, a man was running with all his might, reaching another man whom he called Vice Captain. He informed him that the door had been destroyed. The Vice Captain asked what he meant by the door being destroyed and wondered if the royal family was responsible. The man clarified that it wasn't the royal family, according to reports from above. The door that had been destroyed had been forgotten ever since the incident with the Karui cult, so they thought it might be the priest on the run. They decided to investigate and see what we have here. The red-haired waifu. Her name is Amelia. The vice captain asked her to handle the situation quietly, to which she agreed, saying she would return shortly. Confused by the maze-like structure, Misha asked the dwarf if he knew what this place was, but he laughed awkwardly and said that not all dwarves are experts in architecture. He then asked Dwaki for his thoughts. Dwaki replied that mages don't know everything, and that he had no idea why people back in the day would build something like this underground. Misha remarked that she thought he might know, especially since he had mentioned reading a lot lately. Dwaki explained that his reading was for learning new magic. Rottmiller interrupted, asking them to stop. He had caught Aisha's scent, and it wasn't a leftover one. She was approaching them. On the other side, Elisha was also lost in the complex paths. She then heard the evil god's laughter, which she always heard whenever something bad happened to her. She assumed the people from the temple were already there and started running in the opposite direction. Rottmiller noticed this and the group began chasing her. Misha warned Bjorn to be careful not to fall into her trap again. Elisha recognized their voices and, gaining confidence, said that they had dug their own graves and she wouldn't let them escape this time. She decided to attack, opening the gate to the demonic realm and summoning shadow demonic hounds and shadow guardian knights. But this time, the situation was different. Misha easily dealt with them using her ice element. Bjorn was impressed by Misha's growth and said that this time would be different from the last. He also used his skill Wild Outburst to take care of the shadow hounds. The dwarf, excited, used his lightning skill and unleashed a combo, announcing that he was also there. Rottmiller fired his crossbow. However, Elisha wasn't going down easily. She began casting curses, but this time Dwaki was ready with his new 7th rank support spell, called Brilliance, which purified everyone's curses. Afterward, he asked Bjorn how he did. Bjorn praised him, saying it was amazing. It was Bjorn who had told him to learn a spell that would eliminate curses, and he had learned a wide-range purification spell, which had probably been expensive. Bjorn destroyed Elisha's shadow guardians and then asked Dwaki to cast a spell. Dwaki was confused and asked if he meant right now. Bjorn urged him to hurry. He then jumped to attack Elisha directly. To avoid Bjorn's attack, she used Spiritification, a skill that made her resistant to physical attacks and allowed her to glide, just as she had escaped last time. She told Bjorn that she wouldn't forget this. But this time, Bjorn was determined not to let her escape. That's why he had asked Dwaki to cast the materialization spell in advance. With the aim, assist spell, Dwaki used the materialization spell on Elisha, canceling the effects of her spiritification. This time, Bjorn wasn't going to let her go. He grabbed her and slammed her onto the ground, perhaps a bit too hard, and started beating her before she could do anything. The others were shocked. Dwaki asked Bjorn if they should capture her alive for the reward. Bjorn stopped after that and tied her to his back. He also asked Dwaki to use paralysis poison on her, not wanting to take any risks. He didn't think she could move in this condition, and the way she was tied up was a bit casual. After that, Bjorn asked Rottmiller to take the lead, but when he didn't hear anything from behind, he looked back and saw the others lying on the ground unconscious. Then he, too, got poisoned. Fortunately, thanks to his high bodily stats, the poison's effect was reduced by half. And with that, he had his reunion with the red-haired waifu.